David Smith here with another Flipped Classroom math video. Today's topic, Index Laws Part 2. We're going to start with a new rule, negative exponents, and then we're going to get into some of those complicated simplification problems. Okay? Let's get started. Negative exponents. This is actually just one rule that gets expressed two ways. If you have a negative exponent, like a to the minus n, then you can just move this a to the negative n below, like in a fraction, so it becomes 1 over a to the positive n. Pretty straightforward. Same thing, if you have a negative exponent below a fraction bar, then you can move it up and make it positive. So this is like a to the n over 1, the flip of that one, but we don't write over 1. So this is how to handle negative exponents. It's essentially one rule that works two ways. The convention that we have in mathematics is that we don't write negative exponents. We always try to make our exponents positive. So when you're asked to simplify, your answer needs to not have negative exponents. So let's do a couple examples. A to the negative 1 is just 1 over a. Okay? Pretty straightforward. Let me give you one. 3 to the negative 3 power. Pause the video. Okay, so if you went 1 over 3 to the 3, you're good, you're just not finished. What's 3 to the 3? 3 times 3 times 3, 27. 1 over 27. Let's give you another to try. 5 over 10 to the minus 2. Okay, pause the video. Okay, let's see how you did. This one's a little bit more tricky. Got to bring this up. It's got a negative exponent. So now we have 5 times 10 to the minus 2. Remember when we had quotients, we can pull them up, but we got a multiplication there. So this is 5 times 10 to the 2. So let's take a look at that. 5 times 100 equals 500. Okay? Action. Okay, let's look at how we can use some of these laws and talk about some of the instructions that you might be seeing in your book. Sometimes you're told, write without brackets or negative exponents. So let's take a look at one. Okay, so there's no brackets here. We don't have to worry about that. But we do have a negative 1. And we have a 0 power. Okay, so you remember what the 0 power is. That makes this 1. So this becomes 1 minus 5 to the negative 1. But then we also know that 5 to the negative 1 is 1 over 5. So this is 1 minus 1/5, which is going to give us 4/5. If you struggle with combining fractions like this, you'll want to review that. This is going to come up fairly frequently in this unit. Let's try another one. So now I have a fraction, 2/5. The fraction is inside the parens, or the bracket, raised to the minus 2. So let's do this in a real step-by-step way. Actually, pause the video, see what you get. Okay, let's tease this apart. So this is, I'm using the quotient law to distribute this negative exponent onto the two numbers in the fraction. Now, I'm going to use the negative power law. This one's going to come up and become 5 squared with no negative, and this one's going to go down and become 2 squared with no negative. So it kind of just switched it. Now let's finish. 5 squared is 25, 2 squared is 4. In my class, I don't care about improper fractions. This is a fine number to write down. In fact, this number is one that you can more easily multiply and divide. If you create a mixed number, it's kind of like a dead end. If you need to do something further with that mixed number, you're probably going to need to bring it back into an improper fraction. Okay, let's do some more removing brackets. Our book calls these brackets. They're really parentheses, but brackets is okay with me. So let's get rid of those. We've got a power outside, so we can distribute that. 3 squared times a squared. We can simplify that to give us 9a squared. Okay? Let me give you one to try. So this is 2x over y all to the third power. Pause the video. Okay, let's see how you did. So the first thing I'm going to do is distribute my power over my quotient. Now a common mistake would be not to remember that this third power goes over both of these. You can't quite get rid of all the parens yet because that third power is on the x and on the 2. Here, we're done. We have a y to the third. Let's finish. This is 2 to the third times x to the third over y to the third. And we can finally simplify because we know what 2 to the third is. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. There you go. Okay, now we're going to do just some more complicated simplification problems. All the laws that we've covered so far could be used in any of these problems, all right? So I'm going to go through this one and then I'll give you some to try. I have a power outside the parens. It needs to be distributed on all terms. So this becomes 3 to the 4 times a to the 3 times 4 times b to the 4. Remember, there is a 1 there, so this is 1 times 4. That's how I got the 4. This is multiplication, so it's a to the 3 times 4. And then finally, we just end up with b to the 4. Finishing it out, 3 to the 4th power, if you remember from previous lessons, that ends up being 81 times a to the 12, b to the 4. That's our most simplified form. Okay, let me give you one to try. Okay, pause the video. Okay, let's see how you did. This one is very similar to this one, just different numbers and variables. I'm going to distribute my power. 2 to the 2, x to the 2 times 2, y to the 3 times 2, which is going to give me 2 squared is 4, x to the 4, y to the 6. Let's do another one. 2s to the 3rd, in parentheses, t to the 4th, all raised to the 5th. Okay, very similar to these two. Pause the video. Let's see how you did. The 5 to the 2, or I'm sorry, the 2 to the 5th, that's 2 times 2 is 4, 8, 16, 32. S to the 3rd raised to the 5th, I'm going to multiply these two powers. So that's going to be s to the 15. T to the 4th raised to the 5th is t to the 20. Okay? Let's do another one. So this is x squared over 2y all raised to the 3rd power. Pause the video. Okay, let's see how you did. First step, distribute my power on this quotient. And I encourage you to keep your brackets in there just to make sure you remember that something like this 3rd power also applies to the 2. So this is going to be x to the 2 times that 3. So this is going to be x to the 6th. Now this one is going to be 2 to the 3rd, which is 8, y to the 3rd. Okay, I have one more for you to try. So let's try this one. Okay, so this is 2r squared over 4s raised to the 4th power. Okay, there's a lot going on there. Pause the video. Okay, let's see how you did. So my 4th power is going to get distributed on both of those. So 2 to the 4 is 2, 4, 8, 16. R to the 2 raised to the 4 is going to be r to the 8. 4s to the 4 is going to be 4 to the 4. So let's see what that is. 4 times 4 is 16. Times 4 again is 64. Times 4 again is 256. And then I just bring my 4th down for my s. Now, you got to watch out for reduction. 16 over 256 is going to reduce quite nicely. We're going to have r to the 8 over 16s to the 4. Okay? That's all I got right now. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, give me a like down below or subscribe.